Alrighty, hello, Yawgmoth Discord, YouTube, and everyone else watching. My name is Zane, also known as Meat. I'm an avid Yawgmoth player, and I'm here to record some gameplay footage with Yawgmoth. I figured before I go into the gameplay and everything, I'd showcase my main board and sideboard. So, for the most part, it's pretty standard. The only difference is that really, I'll just point out really the differences. The main board I won't really make much of a note of. But I play one Prosperous Innkeeper, one Blood Artist. Some people like to play the Zulaport, and some people like to play the Essence Warden. I prefer to play Prosperous Innkeeper because of the niche line with Eldritch Evolution, being able to Eldritch your Innkeeper and find Yawgmoth, whereas you can't with the Essence Warden. Um, I found that to be a lot more useful than the 1 mana less that it takes to play Essence Warden. I play 2 Endurance main board over the Scavenging Ooze. I do have Scavenging Ooze in the side, but I just have found that the double Endurances, being able to cast at instant speed and with the Evoke cost, have been really impactful in a lot of my games, especially versus things like Living End versus Dredge, and just having the second copy can really surprise a lot of players if the games drag on to that long of a point, and having 2 in game 1 can really just be the deciding factor. Besides that, I go down on 1 Eldritch to play the 4th Grist, because just having 4 Grists has been really strong in my experience playing with the card. Especially having it on turn 2 is really good. It puts out an immediate threat that they have to deal with right away, and if they don't, Grist is just going to generate so much value with the tokens and milling yourself, and that -5 can be deceptively strong, especially if people are not paying attention to their life totals. Besides that, I don't think anything else is different. I do play 2 Besejus. I found that they have been excellent. Just having 2 in the main board, game 1, because game 1, Yawgmoth really has no way to interact with any artifacts, enchantments, or special lands like Tron, and just having 2 of them in main board, you're treating them kind of like spells here. At least I am. Having them game 1 against opponents like Affinity, like Tron, being able to take them off their Tron game 1 has been really great. I've been able to stall out games and win on game 1 because of that. And yeah, that's pretty much the main board. For the sideboard, I'm playing 2 Thoughtseize, 2 Turok. Turok is a newer card that Yawgmoth players are kind of experimenting with, and especially specifically for the 4-color matchup, because it has protection from white, and it's basically like a Thoughtseize if you're able to kick it. And every time they discard a card, it gets bigger. So we're trying that out. A lot of people are on 4 Thoughtseize instead of the Turok, but some people are trying out the Turok and seeing a lot of success with it. So I'm going to try them out. I've not had any instances where I've needed to play them yet, but we'll see what happens. I do play 2 Necromentia. As I've said before, I do play a lot of Magic locally at different events in paper, and in my experience, there's just been a lot of Cascade decks, a lot of Tron especially, so Necromentia has just been spectacular at just ripping apart Tron decks. You just take them off of their land and they really can't do anything, so that has won me a lot of games. Especially, and then also Living End and Rhinos, and to a lesser extent Glimpse, Cascade. If you're able to resolve it, you can win pretty handily. The thing is that they usually play a lot of Force of Negations, so resolving it is kind of rough against those decks, but if you do, for example, there are times where they will mull again a lot until they get a better hand, going down to 6/5/4 cards even, and most of the time they're not going to have the Force of Negation up for Necromentia, so if you can get a sneaky one there, it can really get the game right then and there, especially if they mulled. I do play Outland Liberator. Just excellent for any artifact enchantment removal, especially with the backside. I've had a lot of games won just on the backside. I think recently, actually, I played a game where someone Pithing Needled the Frenzy Trap Breaker, but it was already on its backside, so they just passed turn and I just swung and destroy it. It stops the activated ability, but that's triggered ability. Keep that in mind. Play 3 Force of Vigor. I used to play Crime and Punishment, but I felt like it was way too slow. It was great in the matchups. It was really great in the matchups where it was good in, but Force of Vigor is just great in a lot of matchups generally. Being able to act at instant speed, even if it's not wiping the whole board like a Crime and Punishment can, Force of Vigor is just A force to be reckoned with. Sorry. 2 endurance on the sideboard. 4 to have the total of 4, just to have that full hate for those graveyard decks. And then Scavenging Ooze on the sideboard as well for more graveyard hate. So yeah, that's pretty much... Oh, excuse me. How could I forget the MVP right here, Magus of the Moon. Now this is a newer inclusion to Yawgmoth sideboards. It's been around for a few months maybe, but oof, having a Magus in the sideboard has felt so good, especially against Tron, against Amulet. Oh, just being like resolving it and just putting it on the board can just really confuddle your opponents, just completely daze them because you just have it out. You can play your cards, you can play your mana works, you can fetch your lands correctly, and then you can just slam the Magus either through Eldritch Evolution, through a Court of Calling, or even through Bird of Paradise or Ignoble Hierarch, and then it's just boom. You have a lock on them until they're able to draw out of it or find an answer for the Magus of the Moon. But a lot of the times, what people have to do is they have to decide, oh, do I destroy the Magus or do I destroy the Yawgmoth? So when you're against matchups like Tron or against Amulet where you would bring in the Magus and you have both on the field, it's just really hard for them to win from that position because now they're having to use their, 2, 3 of Dismember, and if they have the one in hand, they have to be like, oh, do I kill the Magus so I can play the game or do I kill the Yawgmoth so I don't win the game, you know? So Magus has just been excellent. I am loving him in the sideboard. So that's pretty much it for my full 75. Let's get into a league and see how we do. I'll see you in a bit. Alrighty, welcome, hello. Thank you so much for watching. I had that intro there to go over the sideboard and main board. Ugh. Sorry, I was just really, yeah, let's mulligan this. Much better. I had that intro there at the beginning, going over the sideboard and the main board, just to give you guys a little run through of what I'm playing with in my 75 and my main board and my sideboard. Okay, they're starting with 7. I think in the future I might just include like an image and just have like the main board and sideboard there so viewers can look at it so I don't have to explain it every time. But let's see. So we're mulling down to 6 because our first hand, if you did not see, was 6 lands and a wall of roots. So don't want we like mana, but you know, not that much. So we're gonna keep this. I think so. We definitely keep Ignoble, keep that. I think we're gonna put back the cord. We're gonna be okay with that. Let's just shock here. Play out Ignoble. Pass it back. We have no idea what they're running. Not revealing anything. They are playing 60 cards. Could be anything. Hopefully our Ignoble Hierarch lives, but usually, as we all know, that is not the case. Sorry, it looks like they just played a land on my turn. That shocked me. Oh. If this is the... Oh wait, no, this is not the... Oh, this is Living End. Okay, okay. Oh, damn. They'll probably take the Eldritch, right? Because they don't want to be putting a creature card into our graveyard. No way they put the Yawgmoth in the graveyard. Okay, that's what I thought. They exile, yeah, Living End. So it's definitely Living End. Living End's a very interesting matchup. Lots of ways to attack the, lots of ways to angle here. Get Forest here. Could have just tapped Ignoble. So if Ignoble lives, we're going to have Yawgmoth on the field, which is going to be very nice. Cycling, sure. If we could cycle for, or if we could draw for a way to find endurance, it's going to be excellent. Dried Arbor card that we do not want to see ever. I'll attack again. gonna preserve our life total here, grab another forest. Black and black. Yawgmoth. And we'll just wait. Don't need to be activating here. Cycling another Architects. Very likely that they have the Cascade in hand. They do have it. So, sure, the Cascade. Go a whole bunch of stuff. They're going to cast it. So we're going to have no targets here. Stack. If we could get an Endurance here, that would be insane. No such luck in the first hit. Target Strangleroot, second noble. Another land. No targets here. Sack Strangleroot base. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So now we're going to be very mean, and we're going to... So, in this situation, we do like Dryad Arbor in our hand because we evoke pitching the Dryad Arbor. Now, if we get Subtlety, then we get blown out. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. Let's get to sideboarding. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than to be good. But we all knew that was coming. Come on. We're all Yawgmoth players. We all ride on that train. So that's why you go double endurance, by the way. That could have been a Scavenging Ooze. And then what do we do there? So in this matchup, of course we bring in the Endurances and the Scavenging Ooze. Magus, I think, can be good. Yeah, because they play really greedy. They play a really greedy mana base. So if we can Magus, we can actually cut them off of doing anything, which is something they don't expect sometimes. So I like going with this 5, and then obviously a Necromentia. Necromentia is really good if we can get it turn 2 with a Mana Dork. Obviously they can have protection for it, but I think it's better to take that risk. So then here we take out 2 walls because we really don't want to be milling them over. I'm looking at a sideboard guide, by the way. Fellow Yawgmoth player Control for Days has an excellent sideboard guide that I utilize a lot. I don't know if I can legally link it in the description, but you can check out Control for Days' channel. He will have it there. And I'm sure if you're in the Yawgmoth Discord, you already know Control for Days. Everyone knows. Come on. Great guy, great player. Chord, way too slow here. Then we can take out probably 2 Grists because Grist is kind of just, I mean, Grist is great if she can hit the board early and start milling over things, but it's kind of a risk. So going to 2 is fine here. They are, of course, going to be playing first. Now, this is a beautiful hand. We're going to keep. Do they have pre-game effects? They mold a 6. They're probably digging for late line. They might have, oh, if they have Grief here, it's going to be so sad. They don't have pre-game effects. They have an island. Cycle, okay. Fine. They're probably going to take the Scavenging Ooze. That's okay. Maybe they... So if they're taking the... They're taking the Endurance there. They probably have a turn 3. Oh man, if they have a turn 3, it's gonna be brutal, because they mold, and they also evoked. Oh, and they're playing basics too, oh my gosh. So Magus is not gonna do it. I'm not gonna say anything. Now they could be playing subtlety. If we want to play around the subtlety here, I think we just don't let them know that we drew the ender. Oh. I mean, they knew we had the scavenging ooze. I mean, I don't know what to say. Good games, I guess. But I mean, that was a really short video. But I mean, there you could that just showcases the power of double endurance mainboard. Game 1, we literally just won because of it. That may have also been the one of endurance that we could have drawn there, but having the 2 hits in game 1, very important, can literally win the games versus living in game 1 when they have no sideboard interaction. In game 2, I mean, they mold, what, did they mold a 5? Mold to 6? They mold to, yeah, they mold to 6. Might have just been a tilt concede, but they saw that. I mean, that we just had like we had such a good hand for living in, like scavenging ooze and endurance in hand with the bird for the mana ramp, like disgusting. And then they don't know, but we drew another endurance. It's like, I'm sorry, but yeah, living in can be either really good or really bad for us. Most of the time, it's a really pretty handy matchup. Other insights for this matchup: you do have to be very careful of subtlety. You do not want to underestimate the power of subtlety. It can really screw you over. They can pretty much time walk you if you're not playing and sequencing correctly, especially if you tap out for a Yawgmoth. While most of the time it is going to be worth it to just try and resolve a Yawgmoth, if you can, versus living end, they can just subtlety and then time walk you and then slam the living end next turn, which can hurt a lot. But endurance, especially being able to evoke the endurance when they cast the living end. Another line to think about: if you can't evoke the endurance against living end after they cast living end, you always should, because your endurance can evoke trigger, it dies, goes to the graveyard, living end cast, they get nothing, you get your endurance back, so, and anything else that's in your graveyard. So that's a line a lot of Yawgmoth players already know, but for those who don't, there you go. And yeah, well, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.